Hi and welcome to this week's walkthrough from Two Way Kids, where each week we upload free printable Bible lessons for you to use if you're under fives at home or at church. And this week we are looking at Pentecost and the beginning of the church. If you haven't already done so, can I encourage you, head over to the website at twowaykids.com. There you can download this week's lesson and follow along for free. Well, once you print up a lesson, you'll see the front cover, which is just an idea for you started. Then we have the introduction and the lesson guide. It covers some of the main points we're going to look at based on Acts 2. Firstly, the Holy Spirit empowers us, and we must wait for God's timing. The apostles were waiting in the room for the Holy Spirit to come. And that God always keeps his promises, just as Jesus promised he would go and send the Holy Spirit. So that's what happened. And below we have lots of ideas and games, activities that you can do with your child to reinforce these points. Then we have the Printable Bible story. So you'll see here the apostles praying, then the Holy Spirit coming with a mighty wind and the tongues of fire. Peter preaching to the people at the temple, and then many accepting and being baptized. There's also an audible and video version of the story if you prefer to watch it or to listen to it, and that's available on the web page as well as on YouTube. Then we have games and activities. So there's a few here that you can play throughout the week or throughout the session, however works best for you and your family or church. First one is Where Are You in a foreign language. So this idea is quite simple. It's a bit like hide and seek, where one person closes their eyes and then they shout out or call out in a foreign language, so a language which is not their own, where are you. Now if you don't speak language, you could you could say where are you. In German would be wo bist du, in Spanish donde estás, and so on. You pick any language which you want to help your child to learn. Next one is wind activities. So the Holy Spirit came like a mighty wind there at the day of Pentecost, and you know, children love to watch the wind. You can just go outside and watch the clouds blow around in the sky. But if you've got a kite or a small windmill or anything like that, you can even build your own. That's fun activities you can do. Think about the wind. And finally, is a waiting game. The disciples were told to wait until the Holy Spirit came. So in this game, you ask your child to wait for so many seconds, and in their mind or out loud they can count 1, 2, 3, 4, and they need to get as close to the right time as possible. If you have more than one child, you can make it a competition who gets the closest to 10 seconds, for example. Then this week's worksheet. The first one is things that blow around in the wind. So you just go through and draw a circle around, for example, a windmill will, the kite will, stones won't, and so on. There's a spot a difference. Game 7 things to find Tim viewers. I'm very excited because he helped to make this page. He said he was going to make it tricky. This one is counting. Once you see the numbers above, then you just count out how many flames there are and then select from bottom. You can cut it out and glue it in place. Next we have to follow lines for some pencil control. So you see the children flying the kite and they need to draw a line or a string up to the kite. Then we have the tongues of fire mobile, and I'll show you the actual one first. So yours it is, and all you need is some wool. The template is included. There's a colored version as well as a black and white version. You see all on these I show you, it's got Jesus. There we have Chinese, Spanish, Russian. So there's a few languages already on, Vietnamese and so on. So there's some language there already, but there's also a blank one in the lesson pack which you can use. So the black and white version, let me show you, there's all the ones we already have. Then here's a blank one, so if your language is missing, just write your language there, or if there's a language you'd like to include, you can also include it. Use the template again in black and white for the top bits. You just need to make holes where the black marks are, glue together, and you're ready to go. Now finally, current pages, we have disciples praying, disciples of the wind and tongues of fire, Peter preaching to the crowd, and Peter baptizing somebody who believed there on Pentecost. And on the last page we have the worship songs, which you can watch as well as there'll be videos over on the YouTube channel. Prayer, and next week we're looking at choosing the 7. So when the widows weren't getting the equal amount of food, there were 7 people who chose to help the apostles, and we're going to look at how God calls each one of us to serve him and how he empowers us to do that as well. So I hope you have a fantastic week studying this passage with your child, in making the craft and doing the colouring. We love if you do make it to share us photos or videos of you doing the lessons or of the craft on Instagram or Facebook. It's always so encouraging to us, and we love to see how you make them your own. Well, God bless you. Have an amazing week. We'll see you again next week for another lesson. God bless.